Good morning, everybody. It's 9 a.m. Central Time, Monday, December, whatever the hell day of the week it is, 22nd. Again, it's that time of the year. All the days flow together. We're just a couple days from Christmas and a lot of insanity happening in the world. So that's fun. Comment here. Number one comment of the day, obviously. Krumel Monster 9201 says, hi from Germany. Hello, Germany. Always love seeing the international audience joining us to watch the latest episode of What the Hell is Wrong with the United States Today. So we definitely appreciate that. We appreciate everybody joining us. And listen, obviously, the big news of the day right now is the Epstein Files. Technically, the lack of actual Epstein files, but lots and lots of big black bars all throughout those files that Pam Bondi released late on Friday. Really just the most humiliating thing Pam Bondi could have done. And what I love about it is Bondi thought she could get away with it, right? She really, in her heart of heart, believed that I'm going to do this. I'm going to do all these redactions. I'm going to get away with it. Nobody's going to say anything. They'll be mad, but that'll be the end of it. And oh my God, no. Pam Bondi is now facing backlash from Democrats and Republicans alike across the country demanding her impeachment. Republican voters are demanding that Pam Bondi be impeached over what she has done with the Epstein Files. And I love every second of it. Now, obviously, Pam Bondi is probably not going to be impeached right now. I say right now because Democrats take over the House next November in the elections. They get sworn in January 2027. She'll absolutely, if she's still there, be impeached. So impeachment may not happen right now unless the Republicans in the House also just get so pissed off they have no other choice. If the calls from the public become so loud, Republicans will have no choice. So that's kind of on everybody else. We have to make a big deal out of it to the point where Republicans can't ignore it. But so much has happened in just the last 2.5 days of these files being out. Let's start with the most funny part, or the funniest part, I should say. So I saw a video on Instagram yesterday, actually, from Josh the Progressive, and he pointed out that the DOJ accidentally didn't redact one of the documents a second time. And what that means, of course, is that they have the document out on their website with the redactions. In a different area of the website, the document's also there without the redactions. And that's the one where it's like talking about Trump, and Epstein's like, I have a girl for him, about Donald Trump. And it, of course, explicitly says one of the victims detailed having relations with him. I guess you would call that in the legal world the smoking gun document. And they forgot, like, of all the things you forget to redact, that's kind of the big one. So that's fun. Good morning from New Zealand. Thank you very much. And of course, you have the two Democrats who, of course, brought the Epstein Transparency Act, Democrat Ro Khanna, Republican Thomas Massie, who went on the media throughout the weekend and said, we're going to hit Bondi with inherent contempt, which is great. So for those of you who may not understand what that is, and it took me some digging to fully get my brain wrapped around it, inherent contempt is just like being in contempt of court. So they can fine you every day. Like every day you're in contempt, you got to pay us $100 for court. For the government, however, that number is going to be a little bit higher for a government agency. But more importantly, they could do to her what they're also already considering doing to Pete Hegseth which is, okay, we're Congress. We have the power of the purse. We're going to withhold your whole budget. We're going to withhold your travel budget, which is what they're threatening to do to Pete Hegseth for not releasing the full videos of the boats being bombed. They're like, we're just going to make it to where you can't leave the country. We're going to make it to where you can't travel. We're going to take your budget away from you. And now they can do that to Pam Bondi and say, okay, you want to play hardball? Good luck getting a paycheck next month. Good luck paying your staff. Good luck trying to get back home for the holidays, you bastard. They have the power to do all of that. And they're like, we're going to do it. And Ro Khanna went a little bit further, suggesting anybody who's obstructing this, because it is an act of Congress, it was signed. If you're obstructing the release of this, no matter who you are, there's going to be legal consequences. You're going to be prosecuted. If not by this administration, then the next one will get you. So that's a pretty bold statement, and it's great. The other part is they put these Epstein files on the DOJ website, right? 16 documents that they had initially posted that all featured Trump in some way miraculously disappeared over the weekend. But because they all mentioned Trump, they were ones that people were paying attention to. So when they suddenly disappeared, everybody was like, hey, I was just looking at this and now it's gone. So then late Sunday, those documents reappeared on the DOJ's website because they got caught. So everything Bondi has attempted to do with this has backfired. Like, she has failed in failing. Like, while she was failing, she failed more at other things to avoid the big fail, because that is how incompetent she is. And I use the word incompetent a lot, and I'm afraid it doesn't do justice to how bad Bondi is. We need a new word to describe this level of incompetence, because I don't know that I've ever in my life seen a human being that's bad at everything. Like, she can't do anything. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what job she has. She can't do it. I mean, she is the kind of person that is unemployable. She should not have a job, ever, any job. Like, she shouldn't even be, mopping floors, because I don't think she could do that right either. I've just genuinely never seen somebody who's literally bad at every single thing they do in life. Pam Bondi is. But she's loyal. Loyalty will take you far with Donald Trump, right? But how far? Because eventually the screw-ups, the humiliation, that's going to outweigh the loyalty. And as those keep piling up, as she keeps embarrassing Trump, embarrassing herself, that loyalty is going to be worth less and less. Trump loves loyalty, but he hates being embarrassed, and that's all he's getting from Pam Bondi. So I don't know that we will have the opportunity to impeach her, because I think her time as Attorney General is coming to an end. Trump is going to get pissed off. He is not going to want to continue to deal with this. He's going to find somebody else that can be just as loyal, but not as dumb. A normal person could find somebody that would be just as loyal, but not as dumb. Trump can't. Honestly, I think whoever replaces Bondi, because she will eventually be replaced, they're going to be so much dumber, and it's going to be so much funnier. Like, that is going to be a laugh riot, and I can't wait for it. Let's go to some comments here. BLS Soldier says, peak incompetence. Gonzalez says, Dems are a bunch of wussies and will let all these criminals skate. Makes me mad. I worry about that too. I really do. Sora 51987 says that's if Trump hasn't already preemptively pardoned them. He is planning the preemptive pardons. Those are coming. It is something we have to accept and understand. But yeah, no, well, let's just wait until they happen, though, right? Like until then, let's hold out a little bit of hope. It's the Christmas season. Let's have some hope. A super chat here from 77 JL Mooney. In all fairness, I'm not sure I could handle covering for Trump. He really works against you. That is true. And no matter who comes in, Trump's going to ask them to do things that they physically cannot do. So they're going to fail. Even the most competent attorney being put in these situations would fail. Tyler Hackner says, impeach this entire administration. Agree with you 100%. That's what needs to happen. All these people are just absolutely horrific. But of course, impeachment is high crimes and misdemeanors, not being a dumbass. Unfortunately, here in the United States, being a dumbass is in fact legal. So, you know, that's why I talked about it the other day. The impeachment articles that have been filed against RFK Jr., he's grotesquely incompetent. He's very, very dumb. But nothing he's done is illegal and actually rises to the level of impeachment, and that's why I don't agree with it. Hegseth, on the other hand, you could definitely get him on war crimes, like 100%. Good morning from NYC. I just saw a good morning from Switzerland come through. It's amazing to see, again, just everybody everywhere. I love it. I saw New Zealand a little bit ago. Hey, Farron, have you seen the 60 Minutes scandal where they pulled an episode investigating the Trump deportees? I did read about that this morning. It's just another one of those, like, so much stuff to talk about that, unfortunately, that's one I'm not going to have time to. But yeah, but again, that's what the Republican takeover of CBS was all about. And this is what happens. So yeah. It's crappy, it's horrible, but we're going to see more stuff like that. I do want to talk about this. This is actually a story I've had sitting around for like a week now. 2/3 of Americans say the government should insure health care for all. And the reason this story is so important is because, of course, in a week and a half, we hit January 1st. Those Affordable Care Act subsidies go away. Unless a miracle happens this week. 22 million people saying that my insurance is about to become so expensive, I will not have insurance. So all of the 40 plus million that have been able to get insurance since the Affordable Care Act passed, half of them are going to lose it in a week. So we're going to be right back to the point we were before the Affordable Care Act of health insurance being a fevered dream for millions, tens of millions of Americans. And because of that, universal healthcare, government-run healthcare, is more popular than ever here in the United States. 60% of lower-income Republicans, 60% of lower-income Republicans say the government should provide healthcare. That number's never cracked 50%. That is shocking. Medicare for all, universal health care here in the United States is not as far off as we may have thought it was a month ago. That's what this poll tells me. 2/3 of the country says it's your job, government, to provide health care for us. And as these rates increase at the start of the year, as millions and millions of people lose their coverage because they can't afford it, those numbers are going to go even higher. But this also goes back to something I have said for many years now. Universal healthcare has always been popular, except when you tie it to a political party. You ask voters, and they've done this in polls, do you support the idea of the government providing healthcare for all Americans? Majority of them will say yes. You rephrase it and you say, do you support the Democratic Party's idea? Do you support Bernie Sanders' idea to provide healthcare for all Americans? Suddenly it doesn't go above 50%. When you attach these ideas to a political party or a politician individually, they suddenly lose luster with the opposition. When you ask just about issues in general, we agree. It's the same thing on environmental issues. Majority will say, like, yeah, we need to do this. We need to do something. But do you support the Democratic Party's idea to do something? And they're like, oh, God, no. No, to hell with those guys. That's the partisan politics is the problem. It's not the ideas that are the problem. It's the partisanship. That's what kills us every time. That's what's preventing progress on things that most Americans do, in fact, want. So I just had to get that out there. I know that's a stark difference from the Bondi story, but things are happening with the American public, with the sentiment, with the way everybody feels about everything. We agree on so much more than we realize. We just disagree on the team sports part of it, of left versus right. On the actual issues themselves, this country is so much more progressive than I think most people realize. But hey, y'all want to talk about illegal stuff? We talked about Pam Bondi possibly being impeached. How about Trump broke the law again last week? Donald Trump put his stupid, dumbass name on the Kennedy Center. It is now the Donald J. Trump and John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. That's illegal. After December 2nd, 1983, no additional memorials or plaques in the nature of memorials shall be designated or installed in the public areas of the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, the U.S. Code states. Now, what's interesting is obviously he's broken the law. It's in the U.S. Code. It's clear as day. You can't do that, but he did it. But what I got to draw attention to is that this is now the Donald J. Trump and John F. Kennedy Memorial. Trump's not dead, but this is now a memorial to both him and JFK. Is his health like even worse than we know? Does he think like, listen, I'm not going to be around much longer. Get my name up there now. So that's a tell. To me, that's a tell. Like, this guy knows he is not long for this world and is like, I need a memorial. Here we go. But what also gets me, and this is a weird thing to think about. Has anybody else thought about this? They had the letters ready to go. They're like, yeah, they just voted to put my name on it. So we put the letters up on Thursday. Like, where did he get the letters? Like, those are, engraved big. They just had those sitting around. How many more letters, like, to spell out his name does he have? Is it like from his toy box? Like, well, I was going to use these to put on my Legos, but instead I can put it on the Memorial Center. He just has his name in these engraved letters ready to go to stick up on buildings at any given point. And that's what he did with the Kennedy Center. He is like a friggin' child. But that is hilarious to me. Super Chat here says, Trump administration is quietly going after disabled veterans and no one is talking about it. We have discussed it, by the way. That is another one of those things that this started at the beginning of the administration, back at the beginning of the year. The attacks on the disabled veterans. People forgot because we're living in an era of constant outrage. Okay, it's always something. Boom, 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 boom. So a lot of these truly horrific things that this administration has done and continues to do, by the way, do end up getting buried, even if, like I said, like we've done segments on that. But that was, at this point, 1,000 or 2,000 segments ago. It's difficult to keep up with everything. It's difficult for people to constantly be outraged by every single thing coming out of the news. And, a lot of people, I got a lot of questions for a Q&A I've got coming up later in the week of people asking, like, how do we even handle this? Because there's too much. So be prepared, by the way. That's a video I'm putting out later in the week. Another super chat from 77JL Mooney says, it's not just disabled vets. All disabled are under attack. Citizen Mooney. They are. I mean, the story I talked about last week, they're argued in court, this administration did, like, we can't provide sign language interpreters for Trump's speech because it cramps his style. That's not what we like. So anyone with any kind of, disability or impairment, this administration's message to you is basically go kick rocks. Like, Trump famously didn't want the disabled veterans on stage with him because, like, that's weird. This guy's missing an arm. That's gross. People don't want to see that, he said. He hates them. He hates anyone who is not a fully formed, gorgeous, beautiful, fully functional person in his worldview. None of us would even qualify for any of that. He doesn't qualify as such. But that is the only thing this guy wants to see, is the most perfect, beautiful people. And everybody else, it's not that we're being shunned. They're being actively attacked. And that's what's so disgusting about all of this, is the taking away of, the rights of those who are disabled, trying to get rid of anything to help them. It's sickening. And it's a nonstop outrage like everything else. Member comment here, thank you very much, says, I'm worried Donald Trump, I am worried Donald Trump is going to round up, all the disabled people like myself and put us in camps just like in World War II. I don't think we're at that point. I do understand your fear, and I don't want to downplay your fear at all. I do want to make you feel better. I don't think it'll get to that point. Now, what does concern me, however, video I talked about this weekend, is that the state of Texas is making a list of every transgender citizen, and nobody knows why. I do believe there are lists of people, not just the Texas transgender people list. And that's what's terrifying, because identification is never good. When the government starts making lists of certain people and nobody knows why it's happening, that typically doesn't end well for those communities. So that is definitely a big concern that I have, is the government making lists of people. Definitely not something we should be thrilled about. We should all be worried about that. Listen, that is all of the time that I have for today. If you're not subscribed, please do so. Make sure you're sharing these videos as well. We need to get the word out to everyone in this country. So share, subscribe, follow me across social media. Whatever social media you go to, type in @FairandBalanced. If it's there, it's me. If it's not, I'm not there. So that's the easiest way to do that. Got a lot of great stuff coming up for you later today. So make sure you stick around for those videos. Thank you all for tuning in. I will see you again tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Until then, have a great day. Hope everybody's getting ready for the holidays, taking some time off, eat some good food. I'll talk to you tomorrow.